Hello Internet. So this week I'm cracking open booster box for the newest set for Yu-Gi-Oh! Phantom Rage. So we'll just get right into it. And one quick jump cut and we're ready to get cracking. Now I know there's a few Starlight Rares, but I think there's 5 Starlight Rares in the set. I think the chances for pulling them are... It's not like X number of packs, it's not X number of booster boxes, it's, I believe, when you look online, it's, people will say it's like, oh, you have a 1 in X chance per case, and, while I would like to play Starlight Rare, if you're measuring your odds based on cases of booster boxes, I'm not going to hold my breath. And I do know that it's got support for a few archetypes. I think Arcana Force gets a new card, and it introduces the mutant cards. So we have UA Libero Spiker. You can special summon this card from your hand by returning one UA monster you control to the hand except UA Libero Spiker. You can only special summon him once per turn this way. During your opponent's main phase, you can shuffle one level 5 or higher UA monster from your hand into the deck, and if you do special summon one UA monster from your deck with a different name, then return this card to the hand. I mean, it lets you quickly get out your higher level monsters for cheap. That's good. We have Mutant Expansion. When you activate this card, you can take one level 4 or lower mutant monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. If a level 8 or higher mutant monster you control be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card you control instead. So, I mean, it's decent enough. It protects your bounce monsters. Lets you fetch out other material as well. Dual Avatar Defeating Evil. Target one dual avatar monster you control and one card your opponent controls. Destroy them. Then if you destroy a dual avatar fusion monster you control by this effect, you can apply one of these effects. Draw one card, or banish one card from your opponent's graveyard. And you can only activate one per turn. Xyz Import. Target one Xyz monster you control and one monster your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to it. Attach that opponent's monster to your monster as material. I think this might actually be a reprint. I mean, it's still a good way of getting more material for your Xyz monsters. We have Virtual World Roshi Lao Lao. If this card is in your hand, you can target one Virtual World card you control, send one Virtual World card of a different type from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. Then you can special summon one Virtual World monster from your graveyard in defense position with a different name than the card sent to the graveyard, but negate its effects. And you can only special summon level or rank 3 or higher monsters if you use this effect. I mean, it's pretty decent for getting your board set up. Tri-Brigade Rugal the Silver Sheller. During your opponent's main phase, you can special summon one level 4 lower beast, beast warrior, or winged beast monster from your hand or graveyard, but negate its effects. Also return it to the hand during the end phase. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can make all monsters your opponent currently control lose 300 attack for each monster type you control until the end of this turn. Like, I'm assuming that the intention is that you'd be running beast, beast warrior, and winged beast monsters with him. So you'd be looking at, he goes to the graveyard, your opponent's stuff gets -9 and 100 attack. But it's still interesting effect. Jabbing Panda. If 2 or more Beast Warrior monsters are on the field, you can special summon this card. You can only special summon Jabbing Panda once per turn this way. If this card is sent from the field to your graveyard, you can target one face-up monster you control against 500 attack. You can only use this effect once per turn. Now, it doesn't say until end of turn, so that's just a straight-up 500 attack boost, which isn't too shabby. We have Penguin Brave. Your opponent cannot target face-down monsters you control with card effects. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon one penguin monster from your deck in face-down defense position. And when your opponent activates a water monster, you can flip one face-down defense position water monster you control face-up. I mean, nice artwork. Pretty decent effects. Perialis, Empress of Blossoms. Gains 400 attack for each monster you control, or each plant monster you control except this card. During your main phase, you can special summon one level 5 or higher plant monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, except for herself. And you can only use that effect once per turn. Now, I'm not sure what the stats typically are for plants, and if you would have ones that would be able to either replace themselves when they're destroyed or would have some sort of effect protect themselves. Because, I mean, with 4 plants on the field, she'd be getting another 1,600, so she'd be a 3,200 attacker, which, I mean, it's not too bad overall. We have Awakening of the Possessed Gigobite. You can special summon this card by sending one face-up spellcaster monster and one face-up level or 4 or lower water monster you control to the graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. When this card is special summoned by its effect, you can send one random card your opponent's hand to the graveyard, then each player draws a card. I mean, that's not too bad. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one spiritual water art card or one possessed spell or trap from your deck to your hand. I mean, overall, you're drawing a card when he comes into play with his effect, you're drawing a card when he leaves the field. Overall, that's not too bad. Mutant Blast. Equip only to a level 8 or higher mutant monster you control. At the start of the damage step, if the equipped monster attacks an opponent's special summon monster, you can banish that opponent's monster. While this card is equipped to a monster, you can banish this card, send the monster this card was equipped to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon one level 8 mutant monster with a different original attribute from your hand or deck. You can only use this effect once per turn. That's interesting. I'm curious to see what the actual mutants are like. Virtual World Zacy, Gigi. If this card is in your hand, you can target one virtual world card you control, send one virtual world card of a different type from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. Then during the end phase of this turn, you can add one virtual world monster from your graveyard to your hand, except Gigi. For the rest of this turn, you can only special summon. Okay, so it looks like it's... Just one moment. Where was he? Because it looks like it's literally the exact same effect as Lao Lao. If this card is in your hand, target one virtual world card you control. Send one virtual world card, different name to the graveyard. If you do, special summon this card. Then during the... Okay, no, it's slightly different effects, but same basic mechanic of target a virtual world card on the field, or that you control on the field, send another virtual world card to the graveyard, get card effects. We have Infernity Conjurer. When you have no cards in your hand, monster your opponent control loses 800 attack. While you have no cards in your hand and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect once per turn. I mean, on the one hand, having no hand is bad. On the other hand, being able to pull him out of the graveyard and giving a nerf to, debuffing your opponents by 800 attack, that's not too bad. Infernity Doom Archfiend. Once per turn, you can target one face-up card on the field, negate its effects until the end of this turn. Then if you have no cards in your hand, you can destroy it. While you have no cards in your hand, if this card battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage this card inflicts to your opponent is doubled. A Dark Synchro monster that was summoned using this card as material can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. So one thing I'm curious to look up, I'll have to remember to check after. So you can target one face-up card on the field, negate its effects, and then you can destroy it. So I'm pretty sure that would get around cards that say cannot be destroyed by card effects. So I mean, that's quite powerful. Dual Avatar Return. Target one dual avatar monster in your graveyard, special summon it, then if its original level is 4 or lower, you can special summon one dual avatar spirit token. Warrior Light, level 2, 0 attack and defense. You can only activate one dual avatar return per turn. Good way of getting material for fusions or synchros or XEs or... Cupid 4. If all monsters you control are monsters with 600 defense, minimum 1, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can discard one card, then target one light fairy monster you control and one face-up monster on the field. The level of your monster becomes the other monster's level until the end of this turn. So, I mean, seems like it'd be decent for setting up for XEs or for synchros. But overall, I can't think of much more practical use than that. Infernity Paranoia. Target tribute one dark monster, special summon one Infernity monster from your deck or graveyard with the same level but a different name, but negate its effects. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Infernity monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. I'm honestly not sure how I feel about this. I mean, being able to, tribute a dark monster, bring out an Infernity monster with no level restriction, or correction, no, it has to be the same level. And it's returning the monster to your hand instead of... I'm honestly not sure how I feel about this, because the Infernities look like they don't want you to have a hand. Meanwhile, this is just filling out your hand. Virtual World Gate, Quinn Long. You can banish one Virtual World card from your graveyard, then target one face-up monster on the field, negate its effects until the end of this turn. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add one Virtual World monster from your deck to your hand, then send one card from your hand to the graveyard. You can only use each effects once per turn. I mean, it gives you a way to shut down opponent's card effects, or I guess even your own card effects if you have a negative effect that you want to get rid of. And it lets you tutor out a Virtual World card from your deck, so that's not too bad. We have Mutant GB88. During your opponent's main phase, if Mutant Evolution Lab is in your field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned during your opponent's turn, you can tribute this card, then banish one card from your hand or face-up field. Special summon one of your level 8 mutant monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. So, very nice way of bringing out your boss monsters. Mutant Cry. During the main phase, fusion summon one mutant fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling the fusion materials listed on it into the deck from among your cards on the field, in your graveyard, and or your faced-up banish cards. Mahama the Fairy Dragon. During your opponent's turn, when either player takes battle damage, you can special summon this card from your hand, then apply one of these effects. Gain life points equal to that battle damage, or inflict damage to your opponent equal to that battle damage. So, I mean, it's a good way of just straight up canceling your opponent's attack and getting a free monster on the field, doubling up on the damage, or if they hit you for a large amount, you can just turn around and inflict it right back at them. Raid Raptor Heel Eagle. If all monsters you control are Raid Raptor monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Raid Raptor spell or trap in your graveyard, add it to your hand. I mean, I'm assuming that if you're running this, you're probably going to be running Raid Raptors only. And being able to use it to recycle Speller Traps, that's not too bad. The Phantom Knight of Torn Scales. You can discard one card, send one Phantom Knight's card from your deck to the graveyard, except the Phantom Knights of Torn Scales. If another Phantom Knight card in your graveyard is banished while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Yeah, like I believe the Phantom Knights, if I remember correctly when I was looking up different deck types, I think their whole thing is that they want to be in the graveyard for their effects. Tri-Brigade Revolt. Special summon a number of your beasts, beast warriors, and or winged beast monsters that are banished and or in your graveyard, but negate their effects. Then immediately after this effect resolves, link summon one Tri-Brigade Link monster using only those monsters. I mean, it's not too bad. Once you bring them back, immediately use them for link material. Free range monsters. During the main phase, immediately after this effect resolves, normal summoner set one monster. Yep, that's an effect. Infernity Wildcat. You can special summon this card from your hand by sending one other Infernity monster in your hand to the graveyard. You can only special summon Infernity Wildcat once per turn this way. While you have no cards in your hand, you can banish one Infernity monster from your graveyard, increase or decrease the level of this card by 1 until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. So I mean, once again, decent for Synchro or Xyz. And Infernity Suppression. If you have no cards in your hand, you can activate this card the turn it was set. When your opponent activates a monster effect while you control an Infernity monster, negate the effect, then you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the activated monster's level times 100. You can only activate one Infernity Suppression per turn. I mean, quite nice, especially the fact that you can use it the turn it was set if you have no cards in your hand, which is exactly what Infernities want. So, you have another Libero Spiker, another Mutant Expansion, another dual avatar defeating evil. Okay, at least the rare is different. Virtual World City Kowloon. Place one Virtual World Gate card from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone. Then you can apply any of the following effects in sequence based on the number of Virtual World Gate cards you control. 2 or more, all Virtual World monsters you control gain 200 attack this turn. 3 or more, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. And 4, special summon up to 4 Virtual World monsters with different names from your extra deck. And you can only activate Kowloon once per turn. I mean, decent effects. So, charge into a Dark World. Target one level 4 lower Fiend monster in your graveyard. Special summon it, then discard one Fiend monster. You can only activate once per turn. We have Magical Broker. When you control a continuous spell or trap, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. During your opponent's turn, you can send one face-up continuous spell or trap you control to the graveyard, draw one card. So, I mean, he has some built-in protection. And he lets you cycle out your cards if they're not going to be useful, or if they have when this card is destroyed effects. So, Tri-Brigade Nerval. You can banish any number of beast, beast warrior, and or winged beast monsters in your graveyard. Special summon one beast, beast warrior, or winged beast link monster from your extra deck with link rating equal to the number banished. Also, you can only use beast, beast warrior, and winged beast monsters as link material for the rest of this turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Tri-Brigade monster from your deck to your hand, except Tri-Brigade Nerval. And Tri-Brigade Standoff. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck, except beast, beast warrior, or winged beast monsters. You can send one monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, add one Tri-Brigade monster from your deck to your hand with a different original type than the monster sent to the graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. If the card is in its owner's spell and trap zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can activate this effect. Your opponent cannot declare an attack this turn. So, has some decent... it has some decent effects. Lets you, punishes your opponent for targeting your stuff face down, or just blanket destroying your spells and traps. So, we have Tri-Brigade Oath. Target one Link monster you control. Special summon one Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster with a different type from your hand or graveyard. If you control at least one each of the three, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face-up spell or trap your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. I do like that it lets you special summon out the Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster. And I guess the fact that you can use get rid of it from the graveyard to shut off an opponent's... is it just trap? Yeah, you can spell or trap. So, you have some use out of it. Infernity Conjurer. Hinezumi Hanabi. Cannot be used as material for Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link Summon. If this card is normal or special summon, place 6 counters on it. Once per turn during your end phase, give control of this card to your opponent. Once per turn, if control of this face-up card with a counter changes, roll a 6-sided dice, remove as many counters from this card as possible, up to the result, and if all of this card's counters are removed by this effect, destroy this card, and if you do, take 2,000 damage. So you're basically playing Russian roulette. I'm sure that there are some cards that would be able to take use of it. Proof Finesse, the Tactical Trapper. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can banish one trap from your deck, increase this card's level by 1. You can target one trap in either graveyard, banish it, and if you do, increase this card's level by 1. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can set one of your banished normal traps. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, not quite sure how much use you'd get out of the increasing his level, but the fact that you can, use, say, Tri-Brigade Oath, goes into the graveyard, bring him out, get rid of Tri-Brigade Oath, then he dies, you return it to your hand. Oh, correction, yeah, so you set it, so it doesn't even go straight to your hand. Rock Band Xenoguitar. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one rock monster in your graveyard, except Rock Band Xenoguitar, add it to your hand, then place one card from your hand on top of the deck. If this card is banished from the field or graveyard, you can send one rock monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. He replaces himself, and I shouldn't say replaces himself, but at least he dies, you return him back to return another card to your hand, and he also lets you take a card from your deck, put it into the graveyard, so you can get set up for bringing out bigger guys. 1 or 8. If your life points are lower than your opponent, reveal the top card of your deck, and if its level is 1 or 8, add it to your hand, or special summon it. Otherwise, your opponent can apply one of these effects. The player who activated this card has their life points become 1,000. The opponent of the player who activated this card gains life points so that it becomes 8,000. I'm honestly not sure how I feel about this card. It's very much almost the definition of a gimmick card. But at the same time, if you have, say, bad reaction to Samuchi, I'm pretty sure that if your opponent was at 4,000 life points or less, this would just straight up kill them if they chose that effect. If you had some way of forcing them to choose the life gain one, I could potentially see using that card. The Phantom Knights of Stained Greaves. If the Phantom Knights monster is special summoned to your field, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, then you can increase the level of this card by 1. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon one the Phantom Knights monster from your hand, except the Phantom Knights of Stained Greaves, then you can increase its level by 1. You can only use each effect once per turn. So I mean, it's a decent enough card. Awakening of the Possessed. Rasen Ryu. You can special summon this card from your hand or deck by sending one face-up spellcaster monster and one face-up level 4 lower wind monster you control to the graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. When this card is special summoned, you can return one card your opponent controls to the hand. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one Spiritual Wind art card or one possessed spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So the fact that it lets you special summon from your hand or deck, not too bad, means it's not a dead draw and you can still use this effect. I mean, you are tributing 2 monsters for it, but the fact that you can bounce one of your opponent's boss monsters to their hand, and it is actually pretty good. I mean, I know a lot of boss monsters have some form of this card cannot be destroyed by card effects, but you're not destroying it, you're returning it to the hand. Completely different. Jack in the Hand. Reveal 3 level 1 monsters with different names from your deck. Your opponent adds one to their hand, then you add one to your hand, and you shuffle the third into the deck. You can only activate 1 Jack in the Hand per turn. Not a big fan of the cards where you're adding one of your cards to your opponent's hand just from a from the perspective of at that point you're hoping that you remember that your opponent had that card and you remember to get it back after the end of the game and things like that. We have Mutant GB88, Mutant Cry, Mahama the Fairy, Raid Raptor Eat. Hey, we're just going to jump ahead. We have Raider's Knight. This card is always treated as the Phantom Knights and Raid Raptor card. You can detach 1 material from this card, special summon from your extra deck 1 the Phantom Knights, Raid Raptor, or Xyz Dragon, Xyz monster that is 1 rank higher or lower than this card by using this face-up card you control as material, but destroy it during the opponent's next end phase. Transfer its materials to the summon monster. You can only use this effect once per turn. Honestly, not sure how I feel about that. Although it would be very entertaining if you bring out a Xyz monster that says it cannot be destroyed by card effects, at which point I think it would be protected from this. We have Mutant Fusion. Fusion summon 1 Mutant Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion monsters listed on it from your hand or field. If your opponent has activated a card or effect this turn, you can use up to 1 monster each from your deck and graveyard as fusion material. I mean, that's not too bad. Rookie for Hire. Tribute 1 monster, special summon 1 monster for hire from your hand or deck, whose level is 1 higher or 1 lower than the tributed monster had on the field. You cannot declare attacks this turn you activate this card, except for monsters for hire. Another Jack in the Hand. And UA Player Manager. If you normal or special summon a UA monster except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned, you can activate 1 of these effects. Target 1 card on the field, destroy it. Negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field until the end of this turn except UA monsters. I mean, it's interesting. High level for stats, but I mean, fairly easy to special summon it, so. We have Raider's Unbreakable Mind. This card is always treated as the Phantom Knights and Raid Raptor card. If you Xyz summon using a Dark Xyz monster as material, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it. If this face-up card in the spell and trap zone is destroyed by a card effect, you can set one rank-up magic spell directly from your deck or graveyard. I mean, that's not too bad. Gluttonous Reptolfin Greethus. You can target one fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster in your graveyard with an equal or lower level than the number of cards in your opponent's hand. Special summon it, but it cannot activate its effects this turn. You can only use this effect of Gluttonous Reptolfin Greethus once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can make the synchro monster that uses this card as material gain 200 attack defense for each card currently in your opponent's hand. I mean, that's not too bad at all. Another Mutant GB88. Arcana reading. Toss a coin and apply this effect. If Light Barrier is on the field, you can choose the effect instead. Heads, add one card from your deck to your hand that has a coin tossing effect, except Arcana reading. Or tails, your opponent adds one card from their deck to their hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one Arcana Force monster. You can only use each effect once per turn. Now, I know that the Arcana Force monsters are really bad, because their whole thing is you flip a coin and either you get a really good effect, or either you get a really bad effect, or your opponent gets the really good effect. But, I don't know, it's a silly archetype that I can't help but like. Virtual World Beast Juju. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects while you have two or more monsters in your graveyard with the same original type and attribute, but different names. You can banish two monsters from your graveyard with the same original type and attribute, but different names, then target one beast on the field, send it to the graveyard. I wonder if that gets around, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, because it doesn't say destroy the card. It says send it to the graveyard. Another Dual Avatar Return. Another Cupid 4. Fernity Paranoia. And Quinlong. We have another Tri-Brigade Oath, Infernity Conjurer, Hanabi, and the Tactical Trapper. And we have Dual Avatar Fists, Armored Agyo. If this card is special summoned, you can target one attack position monster your opponent controls, destroy it. Also, this card cannot attack directly for the rest of this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn, while you control a dual avatar fusion monster that was fusion summoned using an effect monster as material. All dual avatar fusion monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense. So, I mean, not bad effects. Has a targeted attack that doesn't have too bad of a downside. I mean, okay, you can't attack directly, but if you need to get rid of your opponent's monster now, it's a good way of doing it. Tri-Brigade Rugal. Virtual World Kirin Lily. If this card is in your hand, you can target one Virtual World card you control, send it to one Virtual World card of a different type from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do special summon this card, then you can send one Virtual World card of the third type from your deck to the graveyard, except Lily. For the rest of this turn, you can only special summon rank 3 or higher monsters, and you can only use this effect once per turn. We have Mutant Clash. When you activate this card, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls, banish one mutant monster from your graveyard, and if you do, negate its effect until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. When your level 8 or higher mutant monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can draw one card. You can only use this effect once per turn. You can only activate one Mutant Clash per turn. I mean, not bad effects. You have to have a level 8 or higher monster to get the card draw, but it's still, I mean, it has a built-in way of replacing itself. And another 1 or 8. We have Dual Avatar Compact. During the main phase, banish one Dual Avatar spell or trap from your graveyard, except Compact. This card's effect becomes that spell or trap's effect when that card is activated. So, I mean, it basically just becomes another copy of a spell or trap that you've played. Virtual World Shell Jaja. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, then target one face-up monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by battle until the end of your opponent's turn. Once per turn, after damage calculation, if this card battled an opponent's monster while you have 2 or more monsters in your graveyard with the same original type and attribute, you can banish that opponent's monster. Geonator Transverser. This link card and monsters it points to cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. If this card points to 2 monsters, you can switch control of those monsters. I mean, if you have a decent way of setting up your opponent's stuff so you can steal some of their good stuff, that's not too bad. Another UA Libro Spiker. We have a Dual Avatar Fists Yuhi. You can target one dual avatar monster you control, destroy it, and if you do, add one dual avatar spell from your deck to your hand. If a face-up dual avatar fusion monster you control that was fusion summoned using an effect monster as material is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. I mean, overall that's not too bad. Another Charge into the Dark World. Another Magical Broker, Nerval, and Standoff. You have another Unbreakable Mind, Gluttonous Red Dolphin Grethus, Mutant GB88, Arcana Reading. Here we go. Mutant Synthesis. If this card is fusion summoned, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, this face-up card is unaffected by the effects of an opponent's card of the same type as that card. If this fusion summoned card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can add one of your banished mutant cards to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect, this card becomes a... I mean, it's a very interesting effect on it. We have another Rasen Ryu, Cupid 4, another Tri-Brigade Revolt, and Standoff. We have UA Man of the Match. It's always treated as an FA card. After damage calculation, if your UA or FA monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, or when your UA or FA monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, special summon number of any number of UA and or FA monsters with different names from your hand and or graveyard in defense position. That's not too bad. Another Gigglebite. We have Banquet of Millions. Banish any number of cards from your extra deck face down, and banish the same number of random face down cards from your opponent's extra deck face up until the end phase. I mean, if you want stuff, if you want your cards to be banished, this isn't a bad way of doing it. I mean, it could sort of screw over your opponent if you just get rid of all your entire extra deck and they're planning on some big combo for that turn, but we have another Mutant Blast. We have Virtual World Hime, Nyan Nyan. If a level 3 monster is normal or special summoned to your field while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card as a tuner, but banish it when it leaves the field. Also, for the rest of this turn, you can only special summon level or rank 3 or higher monsters. If this card is banished, you can target one of your other banished cards, shuffle it into the deck. I mean, it's not too bad. It makes itself into a tuner. We have Mutant Fusion, Rookie for Hire, Jack in the Hand, and another Player Manager. Dual Avatar Compact, Jaja, Generator Transserver, Libero Spiker. We have Tri-Brigade Fractal. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Send one level 3 or lower beast, beast warrior, or winged beast monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can banish any number of beast warrior, and or winged beast monsters in your graveyard. Special summon one beast warrior, or winged beast link monster from your extra deck with link rating equal to the number of banished. Also, you can only use beast warrior, and winged beast monsters as link material for the rest of this turn. I mean, the fact that you can just discard it from your hand to get to fill up your discard or get his effects, that's not too bad. Another Phantom Knight of Stained Greaves, Rookie for Hire, Free Range Monsters, and Virtual World Gate Quinlong. And just be back in a moment. Sorry about that. Cat wanted in from outside, so... Anyways, halfway there. We have another Banquet of Millions. Dogmatic Asism. If the equipped monster is a dogmatic monster, it gains attack equal to its level times 100. If not, it loses 200 attack for each dogmatic monster you control. If this card is sent to the graveyard because the equipped monster is destroyed, you can send one monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. I mean, overall, that doesn't seem like it's too bad of... In fact, I mean, you could potentially give a monster minus 1,000 attack, which is, hefty amount. Mutant Cry, and another Man of the Match. We have UA Hyper Stadium. It's always treated as an FA card. When it's activated, you can add one UA or FA monster from your deck to your hand, or add one UA Stadium from your graveyard to your hand. You can reveal one field spell in your hand and pay 1,000 life points. You can normal summon one UA or FA monster during your main phase this turn, in addition to your normal summoner set. That doesn't seem too bad overall. Tri-Brigade Standoff, Phantom Knights of Stained Greaves, Rookie for Hire, and Free Range Monsters. We have UA Locker Room. It's always treated as an FA card. Target one UA or FA monster you control or in the graveyard, add it to the hand, and if you do, you gain 500 life points. Then you can apply this effect. Reveal any number of UA and or FA monsters in your hand, shuffle them into the deck, then draw cards equal to the number of shuffled cards. I mean, well, it's in your hand or in your graveyard, so you could bring back UA or FA monster that was destroyed, shuffle it back into the deck, along with whatever you don't need, and draw that many cards. That's not too bad. Dual Avatar Defeating Evil. Awakening of the Possessed Gigabite. Mutant GB88. And Tri-Brigade Karis. You can discard one other beast warrior, or winged beast monster. Special summon this card from your hand. You can banish any number of beast warrior, and or winged beast monsters in your graveyard. Special summon one of the 3 link monsters from your extra deck, with link rating equal to the number banished. Also, you can only use beast warrior, and winged beast monsters as link material for the rest of this turn. So, I mean, overall, that's not too bad. Gets bodies into the graveyard for his effect, and Charge into a Dark World, Jack in the Hand, Rasen Ryu, and another Phantom Knight of Stained Greaves. Oops. We have another Geonator Transserver, Mutant Expansion, Jaja, Dual Avatar Compact, Dual Avatar Invitation. Discard one card, and if you do, special summon as many dual avatar spirit tokens as possible. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusion monsters, and all tokens you control cannot be tributed and are destroyed during the end phase. After summoning these tokens, you can apply this effect up to twice. Fusion summon one dual avatar fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. I mean, that's not too bad overall. Another Empress of Blossoms, Quinlong, Magical Broker, and Jabbing Panda. A little sad by how few mutant cards I've gone so far, at least as far as the actual monsters go. I'm sure there's more than just GB88 that are common. Another Banquet of Millions, Dogmaticism, Mutant Cry, Man of the Match, Perfect Sync Aeon. When this card is activated, you can add one dual avatar monster from your deck to your hand. If you control a dual avatar effect monster, you can special summon one dual avatar spirit token. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except fusion monsters. You can only use this effect once per turn, and you can only activate one of it once per turn. Charge into a Dark World, Mutant Fusion, Mutant Clash, and another Lily. We have another Infernity Conjurer, Xyz Import, Grethus, Mahama. We have Mutant Beast. Cannot be special summoned except with the effects of a mutant card. Your opponent cannot target this card with monster effects. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. When your opponent activates a spell or effect, you can banish one card from your hand or field, negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. Not too bad. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can target one of your banished mutant traps, add it to your hand. So, overall, that's not too bad. Just a bit of a shame that it cannot be special summoned except with mutant cards, but another Infernity Suppression, Infernity Paranoia, Infernity Wildcat. This is not an Infernity card, and that makes me sad. Dual Avatar Return. Another Geonator Transverser, Mutant Expansion, Jaja, Dual Avatar Compact, Dual Avatar Empowered Kongyo. If this card battles, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. If this card attacks, after damage calculation, you can return one monster your opponent controls to the hand. When your opponent's spell or trap card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field while you control two or more fusion monsters, you can negate the activation. You can only use this effect once per turn. So I do like how his big thing, if this card attacks after damage calculation, you can return one monster, period. It's not the monster you attacked. So, if your opponent has a token on their field for whatever reason and a level 8 monster, you can just attack into the token and then return the level 8 monster to their hand. Tri-Brigade Nerval, Penguin Brave, UA Player Manager, and Quinlong. We have another Raid Raptor Heel Eagle, Gigi, another Tactical Trapper, Dogmaticism, Conductor of Nephis. You can ritual summon this card with Rebirth of Nephis. If this card is ritual summoned, you can special summon one Nephis ritual monster from your hand or deck except Conductor of Nephis. If this card is tributed or destroyed by Nephis card effect, you can activate this effect. During the next standby phase, destroy up to 3 Nephis cards except ritual monsters, one each from your hand, deck, and field. You can only use each effect once per turn. I mean, the fact that she brings out a ritual monster with her when she comes out, quite a nice effect. I don't know what the... I mean, the fact that it says destroy up to 3 Nephthys cards, each from your hand, deck, and field, is quite interesting. Charge into a Dark World, Jack in the hand, Rasen Ryu, and Stained Greaves. We have another Infernity Conjurer, Xyz Import, Grethus, Mahama the Fairy Dragon. We have Joyous Melfies. You can detach 1 material from this card. Your Melfi monsters can attack directly this turn. During your opponent's turn, you can target 1 Beast Xyz monster you control, return that monster to the extra deck, then you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower Beast monster from your graveyard up to the number of material that monster had. You can only use this effect once per turn. We have another Silver Sheller, Jabbing Panda, Penguin Brave, and Empress of Blossoms. We have Locker Room, Hanabi, Heel Eagle, Tri-Brigade Oath, Raid Raptor's Phantom Knight's Claw. When a monster effect is activated, detach 1 material from your Dark Xyz monster, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then if the detached monster was the Phantom Knights, Raid Raptor, or Xyz Dragon, 1 Raid Raptor Xyz monster you control gains attack equal to that destroyed monster's original attack. You can only activate 1 per turn. That's quite a nice effect, actually. Charge into a Dark World, Mutant Fusion, Mutant Clash, and another Lily. We have another Raid Raptor Heel Eagle, Gigi, Tactical Trapper, Dogmaticism, and Raid Raptor Strangle Lanius. If you control a dark monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except dark monsters. If you control an Xyz monster with a dark Xyz monster as material, you can target 1 level 4 or lower Raid Raptor monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated. Tri-Brigade Revolt, Free Range Monsters, Infernity Wildcat, and Infernity Suppression. Awakening of the Possessed Gigobite, Mutant Blast, Gigi, Infernity Conjurer, Mutant Arsenal. Cannot be special summoned except with the effects of a mutant card. Your opponent cannot target this card with trap effects. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish 1 card from your hand or field, then target 1 monster on the field, banish it. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can target 1 of your banished mutant spells, add it to your hand. I mean, once again, it's not a bad card, so. Nerval, Penguin Brave, Player Manager, and Quinlong. And last pack. We have UA Locker Room, Hanabi, Heel Eagle, Tri-Brigade Oath, Mutant Evolution Lab. When this card is activated, you can special summon 1 of your level 4 or lower mutant monsters from your hand that is banished. Mutant monsters you control gain 100 attack for each of your banished mutant cards with different names. Once per turn during your main phase, you can place 1 mutant monster from your hand on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw 1 card. And you can only activate 1 Mutant Evolution Lab per turn. 1 or 8, Phantom Knights of Stained Greaves, Rasen Ryu, and another Jack in the Hand. So that's it for this week. So thank you for watching, and if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, you know the routine. Thank you.